Hello, this is Dr. Maloney. I'm the Academic Dean for Curriculum Instruction at Notre Dame Seminary, and I've prepared this video today for you to explain the registration process, which will occur July 10th through the 14th in just a couple of weeks. So I've moved some things around on the website, which I hope make it easier for you to find the forms you need. So what I want you to do is look under the Registration Info tab here on the website. And if you go down to Catalog, Calendars, Policies, and Forms, that's where we're going to find the registration form. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to pull up the correct form that we need. Okay, let me scroll down. Okay, so I need Forms. And for our lay programs, we have a particular form we need completed, and that will be the MATS, ILM, MAPL, and Diaconate Course Registration Form. Okay, so when I click on that, there really hasn't been many changes. I just want to show it to you, particularly if it's your first time completing this form. So we need you to complete this top information, the program that you are in, if you are eligible for, and if you're applying for Handing on the Faith funds. Now, Dr. Neal has also prepared a video explaining your eligibility and how to apply for Handing on the Faith funds and the ministry discount that we have here at Notre Dame. So Dr. Neal has an additional video which explains that to you. So if you're eligible and applying for Handing on the Faith funds, you would circle yes or no as the answer is. And is your ministry organization contributing to your tuition? Now at this moment you may not know the amount, but you should know either yes or no if your ministry organization will be helping you out with tuition. So if you can answer yes or no and you don't have the amount right now, that's fine, but we just want you to make sure you tell us yes or no at this point. Then you're going to put in the classes that you need, making sure you complete it all the way across. Now, this registration form needs to be turned into the registrar's office. And this year we're going to do it on paper, so you can mail it in to us, or you can stop by the campus and turn it into the registrar's office. And if someone's not in the registrar's office, you can slide it under her door. We'll make sure we take care of that. So what you're going to be turning in July 10th through the 14th is this registration form and the next form I'm going to show you that we've created to help you determine the tuition and fees that are owed. And so here it says there's a $25 non-refundable registration fee and so forth. All fees must be submitted with this form. I'm going to explain that very shortly. So this is the registration form you need, and I found it online underneath the Registration Info tab. Okay, so I'm going to go back up here, and the next link under here is Course Schedule. So here you're going to find all of the courses that are offered at Notre Dame this fall. I'm going to scroll down to the second page of this, and you'll see here it says MATS and then ILM MAPL. So many of you will simply be taking these courses. However, you might be taking some courses with the seminarians, and those would be on the front page. So this is where you get your information on the courses that are being given during the fall 2017 semester. That's the information you're going to put on your registration form. Then I'm going back to our Registration Info tab, and I'm going down to Tuition and Fees. Now, this first page you see looks very familiar to us. This is the way that our fee page has always been structured. However, there are some changes this semester. Dr. Neal will be discussing them in his video to you, and I'm going to touch on them briefly here. So there's an admissions fee to all new students of $40. There's a registration fee, which is non-refundable and mandatory, that's due each semester. For lay students, it is $25. There's a technology fee, and this is mandatory and due every semester. This is $25, and a facilities fee. This is mandatory for lay students, and that's $70 per semester. Now, if you're graduating, there's $100 in that semester that is due. And here you'll see this line here, which is different from what you've seen over the past few years, or if you're new to NDS, this is a new feature that we've put together. So and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. That will be on page 2 of this particular document. So the tuition for the seminarians is here. The tuition for lay students is $800 per credit hour. However, if you are a church ministry employee, you receive a discount of half that amount, so then it's only $400 per credit hour. If you are not taking the classes that you'd like for credit, you're only taking them for audit. There's an audit fee of $250. Okay, so I'm going to go to the second page so we can see the new feature. What we've done is we've created a worksheet to help you determine the amount of tuition and fees that are due. And I believe this will be easier for you to understand how your tuition is calculated and how much your fees are. So you're going to have to complete this worksheet and sign it and turn it in with your registration form. And at the time, all mandatory fees are due. So during the week of July 10th through the 14th, you'll be turning in your registration form, this page signed, filled out and signed, and a check for your mandatory fees made out to Notre Dame Seminary. Okay, so let me show you how this works. If you are enrolling at Notre Dame Seminary for 1 credit hour, your tuition cost would simply be $800. But if you work in ministry, there is a $400 discount. Then, if you are eligible for handing on the faith funds, that would be an additional $200 discount. So here is the letter A. I'm going to show you what we're doing here. Down further at the bottom of this handout, see, tuition cost to student A. So the number that you determine from the tuition, the number of credits, the tuition cost per credit hour, and if you've received handing on the faith funds, you're going to put that number where it belongs here. We're going to get to D in a minute, but we're going to start with A. So that number, whatever number you determine goes here, that you bring it down and put it on that bottom table. Now, the next part, these are the fees for all of the lay programs per semester, and all fees are non-refundable. Those fees are mandatory and they are due at registration. As I said, they're to be mailed in with your registration form and with this form. That's your $25 registration fee, your $25 technology fee, and your $70 facility fee. So the mandatory cost of fees for student is $120, and you see the letter B here. I'm going to go down to the table. There's the $120. That is the amount of money that's due during registration week when you send in your registration form. Now, this is a little bit different. You're going to see we've added this meal plan. The reason we did that is because, attending school at Notre Dame Seminary is a little bit different from going to another college, because our lunchroom does not have a checkout counter where you go and you pay for your meals. We're actually eating in the dining room of the seminarians who live here. Now, the seminarian meals are very generously paid by the bishops that send the seminarians here. And that money comes from the people of God, right, who contribute to churches and parishes, and that money comes from the bishops and pays for the seminarians' meals. Well, when we eat in the dining hall, we need to make sure that our meals have also been paid for, because they're not paid for by the bishops. We need to make sure we're paying for those meals. So what we've devised is a meal plan for you. The only mandatory meal plan are for those of you that only come on Saturdays. Now, I'm sure you can appreciate the fact that on Saturdays we have to pay our kitchen staff more, and some weekends when the seminarians are off, the kitchen would have been closed anyway, mandatory, but we need to call our staff in to make sure we have meals for you. So the mandatory meal plan is for those who attend Saturdays. If you come one Saturday or 2 Saturdays, that is mandatory. For everyone else who comes on a weeknight or weekdays, the meal plan would be optional. So you have the option to purchase the meal plan or not. Okay, so what does the meal plan include? When you're here for class, you can have breakfast, you can have lunch, and you can have drinks during class. And remember, this is not a buffet, even though it's set up like a buffet. You go through and you get, one plate and one drink and so forth during that lunch or breakfast time. And we love to have you eat here, but it is optional for you during the weekdays. So please feel free to bring your lunch. It's, this is completely up to you. But if you choose to eat here, we need to make sure that we're proper stewards of the funds that the bishops pay here, and we're responsible that we pay for our meals. Now, we've really tried to make it as economical as possible. On Saturdays, it's $10 a day to eat here at the seminary, and that's breakfast and lunch. But on weekdays, it's only $5 a day. So that's for breakfast and lunch on weekdays at $5 a day. The difference in the cost, I'm sure you know that Saturdays, you may only be here 5 Saturdays in the whole semester. But when you come weekdays, you're here much more often. You're here 1 day a week or 2 days a week or 3 days a week for 15 weeks. So you're here much, much more often. So here's your one Saturday mandatory cost would be $50, which would be $10 a day for 5 Saturdays, correct? If you come on 2 Saturdays, then it would be $100. Now, if you only come on a weeknight for a weeknight class, then it's only a $20 fee because you're not involved with dinner. That would just be coming. You would have drinks, coffee in the dining hall. So if you come for 1 class day a week, the cost would be $75. If you come 2 days, a Tuesday, a Thursday, the cost would be $150, and so on. So you would determine your meal plan cost. If you come on Saturdays, it is mandatory. If you come on the weekdays, it is optional. You would put that number here. That would be the letter C. And you would come down to the table at the bottom and put in your meal plan cost. So now we have your tuition. We have your mandatory fees that are due at registration, and we have your meal plan cost, both mandatory and optional, depending on the days you come. That is your total invoiced amount of tuition and fees, that number there. Okay, so you should be able to add that up and know what that number is right now for the fall 2017 semester. Now let's talk about institutional support. Some of you work for a parish or a school that does support your being here by contributing for your tuition. Now here you see an asterisk that says down here, institutional support varies. A fourth is shown as typical, okay? So sometimes we have the parishes that will pay a fourth. Handing on the fund fees pay that $200, institutional support pays another $100, and then the student would only pay the $100. So sometimes it works out that way. This is just an example. Okay, so you would have to determine, and after speaking with your parish or your school that's sponsoring you, how much support they're going to give you for that semester. Okay, that will be the letter D. So we're going back down here and we're going to put in the institutional support. And then that would be, when you subtract that, that would be your final total due. Okay, and this sentence here is very important. I understand that I'm responsible for the final total due, as seen in the table above, and that this amount is due before the first day of class. I understand that if the institutional support is not received by NDS, I'm also responsible for that total amount. Sometimes it happens that the parish says that they're going to pay you X amount of money toward it, and they're not unable to. Unfortunately, you will be responsible for that. So that's why we have it broken out down here. So you can determine the cost for your tuition, your fees, the cost for your meal plan, if you indeed have a meal plan, and then subtract the institutional support from above to get the final total that would be due. Again, tuition is due before the first day of class. The registration and mandatory fees are due during registration, and that's July 10th through the 14th, 2017. You can mail all of this, attention registrar, with a check for your fees, your mandatory fees of $120 made out to Notre Dame Seminary. I also want you to fill out this paper for yourself, filling in the program you're in, your name, and the date, and turn in one of these pages to us and keep a copy for yourself so that we're both on the same page as the expectation of tuition and fees for you this semester. So during the week of July 10th through the 14th, you're going to mail or bring in your registration form, a copy of this form, and a check for your mandatory fees. If you have any questions about this, you can email the registrar. Her email is registrar@nds.edu, and she would be able to help you with the mechanics of the registration process. Thank you very much for coming to NDS. We're very excited to have you here. Good luck this semester.